Hello and welcome to this first part of a two-part tutorial of how to use Spaaze as a vision board. Um, Straight away I want to point out something to you because this is quite important. If you look in the right hand corner here, you see an error message, error sending changes, internet connection lost. There's several different types of error messages you can get in this corner. Whenever you see an error message, it means that your work isn't being saved. Spaaze automatically saves your work ordinarily when everything's working fine, so there's not actually any button to click or press to save your work. You can just add content to your board and it's saved. But if you see this error message, it's not going to be saved. So the thing to do is to sign out of Spaaze, and sign in again. Or what I'm going to do is close this tab, and then I'm going to start Spaaze again. So here I am back in Spaaze. I actually logged out or closed the tab and then signed back in, and you can see that error message is gone, and now I know my work's going to be saved. So we're looking at the center of the board, and the way to move the board around is to left click your mouse, hold it down, and then just move the board. And this is how you would move any item on the board. Left click your mouse so you see the crosshair that's there, and just move the board around. You can see at the top here it says Auretta's Dream Board, and when you start your board it's going to say, I think it just says board name. To change the name of your board, you click on settings, and then you can just type in a new name there. You can change the background to the board. I like cork, but you can use grass, sand, denim, chalkboard or striped. I'll click on grass and then save it, and then there you are, the background's changed. But I'm going to change it back to cork. That's my preferred one. Okay, and we're going to start in the left hand corner, looking at some of these buttons at the top of the page. This cross is where you add items to the page, so you can add a label to the page, and a label looks like this. I'll click label and a new label appears. You can add that anywhere on the page. Let's label this family. And you can add a note to the page. A note looks like this. I'll click on that and call this things to do. And then you can make a list of things to do. You may have noticed over here that a box has popped up. We're looking at a notepad now, but we can change it to a sticky note, and if it's a sticky note we can change the colour of that note, and we can also change the text of that note by clicking this T. So it's Arial, we can change it to Courier, and we can also change the font size. It's at 15, but we can make it 18, and we can change the colour of the font, just like that. If we go back to settings, we've seen sticky notes, but we can also use an index card, and an index card looks like that. We go back to add items. You can add YouTube videos, and I'm going to show you how to do that in the next tutorial. You can add images, and I'm also going to show you that in the next tutorial. You can upload files to your Spaaze board. Files and images have something in common. Now, Spaaze is free, but the way the company makes their money is to allocate you 50 megabytes of space on their server, and that space is used up by uploading images and files to their server. Once you've used up your 50 megabytes, you can purchase more space on their server to add more content to your board, but that's going to cost money. So there's a way that you can get around that, and that's by, and I'm going to show you how to do this in the next video, how to upload images or should I say link to images, not upload them, in the next video. So you would upload images to a free host site called tiny.com, and then you'd link from tiny.com to your to Spaaze. But like I say, I'm going to show you how to do that in the next video, and then your 50 megabytes you can just use for your uploading files, or maybe even link your files from another a free hosting company. There's ways to get around this. HTML snippet. This is if you want to add some kind of widget to your board. So let's say you've got a Twitter account and you want to have your Twitter feed on your board. Then you can copy the HTML from the widget that you found, paste it in this box here, click OK, and then your Twitter widget or whatever it is will appear here. If I go back to here, this information here is basically telling you that if you add HTML code to the board, it can break the board, as they put it. Effectively, it can mess up your board. So you've got to be really careful about sticking HTML content onto your board. What I would do if I was going to do that, I'd test it on a separate board, not your main board. I'd test it on a separate board that you're not afraid to break. And if it works, then stick it onto your main board. That's that. I'm just going to show you now how to get rid of an item. If you want to get rid of something, you just drag it down to the bottom and you'll see this bin appears. It says delete one item. Drop it in that bin. It's done. Go back up to the navigation bar. You've got a search tool here, so you can search for items on your board. Now this tool here is very important. This is an overview of your board. We're here in the center of the board, and you can see on my board I've already got content. I've got an area here called relationships. I've got a label here, I think that's a business label, and I've got an area here called family. And by placing this square over an area and then shutting the box, we've jumped to that area. So that area is called business. If I go back to the overview, you can see some areas here have a yellow star. That means that this area is a hotspot, and that means that we can jump to that area quite easily. And I'll show you what I mean by that if I close this board. Business, we've just labelled it business, but as you saw on the overview, I'll show you one more time, there's no yellow star there, which means it's not a hotspot, so we can't jump to it. So to create a hotspot, we first click this star icon here, write the name of the hotspot, business, and voila, you've created a hotspot. Go back to the overview, you've now got a yellow star in the business area. And this is what I mean by jumping to that area. If I go to jump to, these are a list of my hotspots. So now I can jump to family, or I can jump to relationship, or I can jump back to business. So it's a quick way to navigate around the board to create a hotspot. And if I click this icon here, that brings me to the middle of the board. If I go back to overview, I'll show you one more thing to do with overview. Overviews where you can see a picture of your board. These boards are actually infinite. There are no edges to the board. They go on and on and on and on. But an overview just gives you some kind of perspective. So if I was to start a new area, maybe I wanted to have a section of my board called holiday, and I think I'm going to put that section here. So I'd move the square to where I want the holiday section to be. I'd close it. I'd then create a label, position it wherever I wanted, call that holiday. I have to create a hotspot, remember, because I need to be able to navigate around the board and jump to areas. call this holiday, and voila, I've now created a hotspot called holiday. And if I go to the overview, I've got my yellow star behind it, and if I go to my jump menu, holidays in my jump menu, and I can just jump to it wherever I want. And that's about it. That's all I think you need to know to get started with your to get a handle on your board. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to add content to your board. Enjoy.